In the burning hours after Gaugamela, when smoke still curled above the broken empire, a single truth echoed across the ancient world. The Persian throne was empty, and a 25-year-old conqueror was marching toward it. But victory, Alexander soon learned, is far easier than holding an empire together. This is the untold story of betrayal, resistance, and the hunted king who refused to die quietly. The story of the pursuit of Darius III. Tonight, we follow Alexander not as a hero riding into glory, but as a relentless hunter chasing the last breath of an empire. From the gates of Babylon to the frozen cliffs of Media, the world watched as the greatest empire ever built crumbled step by step before a young king's ambition. What happened after Gaugamela was not triumph. It was the beginning of a ruthless race. The Battle of Gaugamela had ended, but for Alexander, the war was far from over. As dawn broke over the plains, the Macedonian king stood silently among the bodies. Thousands of Persians, hundreds of his own men, and an empire scattered across the dust. His generals expected celebration. They expected speeches, crowning, ceremony. Instead, Alexander gave only one order: find Darius. Because Alexander knew a brutal truth. No matter how large an empire is, it survives as long as its king is alive. As long as Darius breathed, Persia still existed. Babylon, the richest city in the ancient world. A city of hanging gardens, towering gates, and temples wrapped in gold. After Gaugamela, many believed Babylon would resist. Alexander prepared for a siege. But something unimaginable happened. As the Macedonian army approached, the gates opened. No armies, no archers, no resistance. Instead, the priests, nobles, and governors of Babylon knelt before Alexander, offering the city its treasure and its loyalty. Why? Because news had spread. Darius had fled. The great king had abandoned his people. To the Babylonians, Alexander was not an invader. He was a liberator from a king who had lost the mandate of heaven. Inside Babylon, Alexander did something no conqueror had done before. He restored their temples, respected their gods, punished no civilians, allowed Persians to keep their lands, and declared himself the protector of Babylon's culture. Alexander understood something most kings never did. Conquest wins battles. Respect wins empires. And so, the richest city in the ancient world bent willingly before a 25-year-old foreigner. But Darius was not finished. Far from Babylon, he fled east toward Media, gathering what remained of his loyal generals. He was determined to rebuild his army, even if it meant raising warriors from the mountains, deserts, and distant tribes. Darius believed he could still win. But Alexander was always one step behind him, moving faster than any ancient army had ever moved. The Macedonians marched through deserts so hot that armor burned skin. They crossed rivers with water so cold it cracked stone. Yet they pushed forward, driven by one name: Darius. In mountains chilled with winter winds, Darius made his last stand. But betrayal stalked him closer than the Macedonians ever could. 3 Persian nobles, Bessus, Nabarzanes, and Barsiantes, once loyal to Darius, now saw only a defeated king. Their empire had fallen, their armies destroyed, and they feared Alexander more than they respected Darius. So they made a choice that would echo across centuries. They arrested their own king. Darius III, the ruler of the largest empire on earth, was bound in chains by his own generals. When Alexander reached Media, he met villagers fleeing in terror. They told him, "The king has been taken prisoner. by Persians.
Alexander's eyes darkened. He had expected a final battle, a confrontation, a chance to face the great king with honor. Instead, the ending of Persia was turning into something far more tragic. Alexander's elite cavalry, the companion cavalry, launched a pursuit across the deserts of modern-day Iran. They rode day and night. Horses collapsed, men fainted, but the chase did not stop. One evening, as the sun bled red across the horizon, a scout arrived breathless. We found him. Alexander rode ahead. In a lonely valley, inside a broken wagon, Alexander found Darius III, stabbed by his own men, dying slowly. The great king could barely speak, but according to ancient records, Darius whispered, "I did not do this." And then, "Give my people peace." Alexander took Darius's hand, the hand of the man he had chased across half the world, not as an enemy, but as a king giving respect to another. Moments later, Darius III, last king of the Achaemenid Empire, died. Alexander covered his body with his own royal cloak. Why? Because in that moment, he wasn't a conqueror. He was a witness to the end of a world. When news of Darius's death spread, the Persian nobles expected Alexander to rejoice. He didn't. Instead, he ordered a royal funeral for Darius, Persian rituals to be respected, honors given to the fallen king, and severe punishment for the traitors. Bessus, the man who declared himself king of Persia after killing Darius, fled east, but Alexander hunted him down too, ensuring no traitor could claim Darius's throne. The empire that once stretched from Egypt to India now had a new ruler, Alexander, king of Asia. But victory brought something darker. He now ruled a land broken by centuries of war. And the deeper he moved into Persia, the deeper ambition, greed, and betrayal would cut. This was no longer a march of conquest. It was the slow, painful birth of a new world. What happened after Gaugamela was not a celebration. It was a pursuit through deserts, mountains, and betrayal. The chase for Darius revealed the soul of both kings, one fleeing to save an empire, one advancing to reshape the world. And when they finally met, one dying, one rising, history shifted forever. Alexander had conquered Persia, but the greatest challenges of his life had just begun.